Hello, everybody, and welcome to what really amounts to, in 21 years, the very first Victory Friday show, and how appropriate that it would launch us into the playoffs. Hi, I'm Mr. Moohead. You can just call me a big and furry bovine, and still just basking in the glow of yesterday's football game that the Browns did what they had to do to get into the playoffs. Manway, I would not want to play the Cleveland Browns right now, no matter who's on the field. It seems like right now, Big Mo is on our side. There's a few things that I want to do because today on the program, besides just to be happy and joyful that we've gotten this far, as any fan would tell you, this is why we watch the games, so that we can share in the enthusiasm that the team is sharing with one another. Joining me right now, David Talevsky. Hi, Dave. How you doing?
Hi, Moo. How's it going?
Good, going very good. I have an interesting take on everything that's going on with the Cleveland Browns. And, it really makes me sick to my stomach to see the national media. They'll do anything for their own ratings. They will denigrate Deshaun Watson. Rich Eisen will sit there acting like he's the absolute purity of humanity, just to attract viewers. ESPN will put on their talking heads and will berate the Browns. And then you have the Ryan Clarks of the world who will be Browns, and just so they can shit on us. And I know all the hype about the Cleveland Browns on these programs are all so that they can shit on us in the end. That's the only reason they're doing it. They do it for themselves because they're selfish pricks. And the other reason is that when the Browns finally lose, I told you so, Browns will Browns. Well, it hasn't played out that way. And I know people will end up saying that. The Browns, it's amazing that they've made it this far. And I'll tell you something else, and I have nothing but respect for Joe Flacco for the job that he's done. But this national attention, as suddenly it's Joe Flacco Day on every sports network, and how amazing Joe Flacco is. And it doesn't matter how many interceptions he threw, he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. And again, this speaks not to the performance of Joe Flacco, but it speaks to the need of the broadcast networks to attract attention to themselves. And they parrot something, and they would just as surely forget about Joe Flacco as they did when he was with the Jets, when he was 1-8 with the Jets. And they would just gladly just forget that he'd ever won a Super Bowl. And they act thoroughly stunned that the man knows how to play football. I want to share some things with you that the national media are not sharing with you, that the local Cleveland, Northeast Ohio media is not sharing with you. It's easy to sit there and say, oh, this is all Baker Mayfield got us to the playoffs, or, oh, it's all Baker Mayfield's fault. Or, oh, wow, Deshaun Watson was 5-1, but God, he didn't do good enough, and in the end, it's all his fault.
Hey, Moo, can I ask you real quick? Am I echoing at all?
Not at all.
Oh, okay, because my earbuds broke, so I'm kind of just using my phone as is.
You're winging it, but you're good, and because they fixed that, the people over at StreamYard fixed that echoing issue, and it was part of a Chrome issue, and unfortunately, they got that taken care of. And I think a lot of people want to just take the quarterback position and just make that the single thing they talk about. but I want to share something with you. Kevin Stefanski, who God only knows I've had things that I've had to say about Kevin Stefanski as far as him, the play calling, him not
You're not the only
deferring,
one.
yeah, not deferring to an offensive coordinator and all of that. But now they're saying he's coach of the year, and I'm going to say bullshit. And the reason I'm going to say bullshit is not anything against Kevin Stefanski. But why not give credit where it's due? If we're going to praise Joe Flacco up and down, and now we're going to blow Kevin Stefanski, why don't we just get to the heart of the matter? The NFL has given up on what I consider, my generation would consider, I'm 66 years old, that the way to play football is to be consistent and to put pressure on your opponents, to have a balanced run and pass game, and have a quarterback who has the size, the strength to stay in the pocket, has the arm strength to throw the ball anywhere on the field. But you see, everything's changed in the NFL because, again, things get parroted. So we end up with, oh my God, Lamar Jackson's the greatest quarterback. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. And it's like, suck my dick. That's not true. His results with the team that he's playing for, very good. And I'm not taking anything away from Lamar Jackson. But the fact of the matter is, if you take a look at the people who dominate the statistics and the history of the game of football, it isn't the running athletic quarterback, sports fans. That's not what it is. It's the Dan Marinos. It's the Terry Bradshaws. It's the Troy Aikmans. It's the Ben Roethlisbergers. I know you don't want to hear this, but the bottom line is they could get out of the pocket if they had to get out of the pocket. Yeah. But at the same time, they had rockets for arms, and they could put the ball right in the arms of a receiver in a crowded field. And you take a look at the statistics of all of those, and then Jim Kelly would be another one. Those are the people with the lasting yardage records. They're all of stature, not necessarily 6'6" like Joe Flacco. But what they did is they worked on technique.
Yep.
They were not worried about running and throwing at the same time. They're experts in mechanics. And you look at them throw the ball, and every throw looks the same as the one before it. That's right, Mark Ross. Warren Moon, not as big in stature, but had a big arm. And what bothers me is that every time we get a story like our quarterback, Joe Flacco, it's like he was part of the Ice Age. And it's like, he won a fucking Super Bowl, folks. Just because we were upset and pissed off that the team that he played for used to be us and got taken away from us because that dickhead Art Modell, nothing bad on Joe Flacco. I used to tell people all the time when we had to play against him on this podcast, it's like if you get him on his back foot, you got a chance. If you let him stride into the pass, you're fucked up the river, man. And now a whole new generation of players and coaches and defensive coordinators are finding out exactly the same thing. So it is with regret that I tell you that the NFL, like so many other things in the present day world, has dissipated. And they've gotten involved in drafting, and it started with the Tim Tebow nonsense, okay? Well, look what he could do and how versatile he is. He threw like a girl. Let's be honest. The guy couldn't repeat
his career.
He couldn't repeat a throwing motion to save his soul because he was looking to run and scramble and this and that. And ever since that, it's like we want to find a quarterback who not only can do that, but he can throw a little bit too. And so we end up with all kinds of, the RG3 guys and you know them all. Yeah, I could name them historically, Randall Cunningham and all of them. That ended up having to be pocket passers because they all got injured.
The lone highlight of Tebow's career was him beating the Steelers in the playoffs, though.
Yeah, bravo. And it was his defense that kept him close every time. Everything that he did was last minute, fourth quarter, because the game was close, because his defense kept him in it. He was a god-awful quarterback.
Yeah.
But we've seen a lot of scramblers who got drafted high, and the Achilles Smiths and the people like that. And we saw people who, he can run and he can pass. He can do both things. And, what I want from a quarterback is the height to see over the defensive line and his own offensive line, the arm strength to put the ball from sideline to sideline down the field, and to have his deep throws have the zip and velocity that his short passes do. And that's really what I'm looking for. And I'm looking for a guy who has worked on his technique and mastered his mechanics so that the pressure that he will see in the pocket will not disturb him, because he is just zoned in and locked in. Just like they've forgotten about the value of the pocket passer with the big arm and the height, they've also forgotten about something else. In their quest to find the next boy wonder, Bill Belichick, we go through this bevy of head coaches that God only knows. And Robert Saleh's one of them, and I have nothing against Saleh, except his team has no fucking offense. And it doesn't matter which quarterback plays, they got no offense. And they never will until they get an offensive line. Because if Zach Wilson could play, which it doesn't look like he can, but if he could, we'd never know it because he doesn't have time to throw the football. And it reaches the point of ridiculousness, like in yesterday's game, where Saleh's game plan and his offensive coordinator's game plan was to get the ball out of the hands of his quarterback so quickly, they didn't throw one downfield pass the entire fucking game. How can you have Garrett Wilson? How can you have him on your team and not try a deep throw for 4 fucking quarters?
Maybe they didn't trust Simeon to do it.
The bottom line is this: they didn't trust him to do it. They didn't try.
If Zach Wilson was out there, maybe there's a chance that they probably would have tried to have him throw it down there.
Well, you know something? The second it became apparent that all he was going to do was throw balls out to the flat and throw quick slants, the game was over, because we scored too many points in the beginning of the game and they couldn't score that many. And their defense scored 1. Excuse me, you look at the final score. How many touchdowns did their offense actually score? And
it was like at least 1 offensive touchdown. That was it.
Yeah. And you're never going to get more than that. On the Browns, on the other hand, and we had a problem with this, with Stefanski and his, 7-yard stop and hit him in the numbers offense, which I still think is a lack of imagination and a lack of quarterbacking and lack of offensive line because of injuries. But here's where I'm going to jump to the next point. So if we've forgotten about the quarterback, who's the pocket passer, and we're looking for the next boy wonder head coach, and we're ignoring the nuts and bolts of the game of football, thank you very much to every team. 31 owners, I want to kiss your feet. Thank you for allowing us to have Bill Callahan. Bill Callahan is my age. He's 67 years old, and I'm 66. We're the same age. And he's old and washed up by NFL standards. Oh, we don't need Bill Callahan. What the fuck does he know? And yet Bill Callahan has coached this team's offensive line through a massive number of injuries. He's lost the replacements to starters. And somehow he gets Garen Christian and he gets James Hudson III to block long enough to give his pocket passer time to throw the football. We don't hear about that. Nobody's on the national circuit saying, wow, Joe Flacco wouldn't be Joe Flacco if it wasn't for Bill Callahan, but it's the truth.
The one thing, I watched some of it today. They're all ignoring the fact that the Ravens, we were the last team the Ravens lost to. They're ignoring that.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it bothers me because is it ageism partially? Is it that they think that these guys are dinosaurs as far as the way they think about the game? Absolutely. Because we have a better idea. This is the new way. We're going to go over to Bronk in England. Hi, Bronk.
Moo.
Oh, turn your mic down a little. You're loud.
Well, I'm in bed.
Oh, you're in
I
bed.
moved
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
I just woke up from a nap. Anyway, you don't want to know.
Okay. Well, no, I want to know who was blowing you in your sleep. I really don't know. That's your dreams or your thing. And
Well, nobody today.
well, hey, it's good if you get it. If you only get it on your birthday at this age. I mean, let's be
Oh
honest.
God, what's that?
We don't want to acknowledge our birthdays. So you got Bill Callahan, and
Bill Callahan, yeah, great.
and he is giving Flacco the time to throw and the time to fake the handoff, run the play action, get the ball out, and go through progressions. On the other hand, Robert Saleh has his 32-year-old quarterback out there who doesn't have the best arm strength, but they told him you have to get rid of the ball in 1.9 seconds. Now, what kind of fucking nonsense is that?
That's the problem with these defensive coaches. They just don't understand how to run modern offenses.
If they had offensive linemen or somebody to coach the offensive linemen they have, you wouldn't have Becton Jr. jumping around like fucking Howdy Doody on the front line.
He is the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. That's who Myles Garrett had to get around the whole game. It's unbelievable.
Becton. I mean, and it was so funny. He could have been called at least 4 more times for starting early. He was bouncing backwards before the fucking play began. They were feeling sorry for him.
They were.
He's staring at Myles Garrett going, yeah. And with this, we get
the big gong of truth. The BGOT.
The truth is the Cleveland Browns are not just Joe Flacco. The Browns are not just Kevin Stefanski. The Browns are not just Bill Callahan. What about Jim Schwartz? He's 57 years old, and everybody said, nah, we'll pass on him. And all he did was he won a Super Bowl with the Philadelphia Eagles as being their defensive coordinator. The truth is, we have old school people on the defensive side of the ball and on the offensive line side of the ball. And the amazing thing is, just look at how the players have reacted to that coaching. Yes, Bronk.
The amazing thing, you forgot Stump Mitchell, who they actually shouted out during yesterday's game.
That's right.
God, he looks like he's 95 years old.
No, his nickname is Father Time. But
he's old too.
But they obviously carry wisdom with them. When did we start thinking that old people just don't have wisdom? I mean, I could sit there and tell people how to run radio stations today. They don't want to hear from me. I'm 66 years old. I'm Bill Callahan. Nobody would ever want to listen to me. Well, he's got an opportunity with the Cleveland Browns, and he's done something with it.
I'm sure you could probably use Randy Michaels at Clear Channel as an example.
Oh, yeah, yes, I could. Here's the deal. Yeah, you can jump in if you want, Joe. If you want to jump into into our studio, feel free. You got the link, and I think you have the link.
Who is that? Joe Shipley?
Yeah.
What,
All right.
what day is it anyway, man? These games, it ended at like 5 o'clock in the morning my time. And I didn't really have to get up to do too much today, but I still had to get up.
Well,
So,
it's Friday evening here.
oh, Jesus, I have no idea.
Yeah, I
Mm.
mean, this is, you know, and that's so true.
I can't read it. What's it say?
No, what Farrell is saying, the national media is starting to blame Taylor Swift for the Chiefs' problems. I mean, you
No,
know,
it's not. They're just not very good.
the Chiefs. Go ahead.
I watched that game on Christmas. Travis Kelce and his body language, he looks to me like a guy that doesn't want to play anymore.
Well,
Well, I wouldn't if I were him either. Yeah.
I think he's done.
Well, what I see is just frustration, and coaches are so important. It's easy when things are going your way, but when you have one injury after another, you were backstage. I did not see you, Joe. Try again, please. I would have let you in.
You didn't see. I thought you were going to break into the speech that Judge Schmelz does when he christens his boat. You know, during Kelly, it's easy to be. I forget that now. You know,
all I remember is, oh, Billy, 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 Billy,
Billy, Billy, Billy, Billy, Billy.
Hey, Bronk, if you were wondering, the previous comment that he had pulled up, it said that Stefanski wanted Sean Desai instead of Jim Schwartz.
And
Good Lord.
here's Mr.
Philadelphia.
Shipley. Hey, Joe, are
How
you
you
there?
doing, Mel?
Good.
I'm
How are
here,
you?
man. I don't know what to listen. Now, let me say one thing. I know I talk a lot, but let me just get this off my chest.
Sure.
There's so many fans here in Baltimore. Like, I'm rooting for the. Listen, I love Flacco, but I'm not going to root for a team in my own division. Like, there's fans here. Like, I'm rooting for the Browns because of Flacco. Now, look, I love you. Look, I don't hate you, Mo, but I'm not going to sit here and root for the Browns. Like, come on. Would you root for us? Say Joe Thomas left y'all's team or, and joined us. Would you root for the Ravens? No, of course not.
And you know
Let me
why?
show you this hold on. Let me show you this real quick. Can you put me on full screen so I can show you this real quick? This picture.
Let me see how I would do this, buddy.
Well, it's me. That's me and Joe Flacco right there. That's me and Joe Flacco. Look how taller. I'm 6 feet tall. I'm 6 feet 2. Look how taller he is than me. He's a monster.
Oh God, yeah, he's huge.
Keep holding that up. I want to see.
Hold on. This is my dad right here. That's my dad right there. Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
there's my brother. That's me and my brother. And then there's Flacco. And then there's my dad. Yeah, we got.
That's definitely Flacco.
Yeah, he was so nice to us. He was so nice. He's like, yeah, take a picture. Take a picture. Thanks for letting me show that, Mr. Mued. I appreciate that.
Oh, yeah, it's cool that you have evidence of such stuff. And
what do I do? What do I do? Do I root for him or do I root for the Browns? Like,
and this is
do whatever you want, Joe.
Joe, I'll tell you what
Fair
you
enough.
do. What you do is you root for your team, and that's the Ravens, and you feel good. It was what C.J. Mosley, after the game, who played with, and C.J. Mosley real well.
Of course.
And he played with Flacco for years in Baltimore. Mm-hmm. And he said, we did what we could to win this football game. I don't want people to think otherwise. He goes, but I want to tell everybody that I am really happy for Joe Flacco. And I think he's done a wonderful job. And I think that he's a great guy. And he was a great guy when I played with him. And he's still a great guy. And that's what you do.
That's awesome that C.J. Mosley said. That's a real man right there. Go ahead, Mo. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry about that.
But that's fandom does not mean that you have to be polarized as far as who you can accept when somebody's good. And they'll say this about the Ravens. And you know that I've said this before, that I felt that the Ravens were the best team in our division. And nothing has changed my mind in the outcome of the way this season has rolled out. I will also say that I feel that the Lamar Jackson model of quarterback is not sustainable. I don't think you're ever going to make him into a pure passer, and that the odds are that eventually in the open field, he's going to cut the wrong way into somebody instead of away, or not see somebody coming and that's gonna, he's gonna get hurt in his legs.
It's a fair point. I mean, it's a fair point. What can I say to argue that? Here's what the only thing I guess I could say to argue is that he might not throw for 300 yards a game, but if he throws for 220 but runs for 80, isn't that still 300 yards? I get what you're saying. He might, but you always, no offense, Mo, but we always wonder, when is Lamar going to get hurt? And a lot of other quarterbacks have got hurt before Lamar. I don't know.
I understand what you're saying.
Lamar's been hurt too, so I don't know what I'm even saying. But go ahead.
Here's what I would say about Lamar Jackson being as balanced as I can be.
Okay.
What he does is that he makes something out of nothing better than any quarterback in the league. He can go back to throw, and he buys himself time that his offensive line would not give him under other circumstances. So what he does with his feet and the ability to continue to look downfield, it isn't that his progressions get better or that he reads the field better. His athleticism keeps him in the open field.
So why wouldn't that be sustainable? Why wouldn't that be sustainable, Mo? Why can't he do that for the next 5 years?
Because wear and tear, it's the same reason that people say, well, do you think that Nick Chubb is going to come back? And it's like, he might come back, but I don't think he's going to be what he was, because 2 reconstructions on a knee, it's
true.
Not a likelihood. And you look at every running back, and we'll take Jamal Lewis as a good example because we'll talk fluent Ravens. He was a wonderful running back, but when he lost that step,
it was over. Yeah, you're right.
It was over and done with. And how old was he? 29?
Well, look, if somehow, some way we win a Super Bowl with Lamar this year or next year, and we never win another Super Bowl, ain't that all it's about? If you have a quarterback for 10 years and you win 1 Super Bowl, you did your job. It's not easy to win a fucking Super Bowl, right?
But there's no evidence yet that Lamar Jackson can win a Super Bowl, because
there's not.
His playoff record has not been good.
But there's also no evidence that Jalen Hurts can win a Super Bowl, or Josh Allen, or Justin Herbert. Is there any evidence that they can win it? Because they all lost. They never won a ring.
That's right. And that's the parity of the league that makes it so intriguing. And it's why the Cleveland Browns are still in this damn thing, is because there is this parity. One team might have a better offensive line. One team might have a better defensive line. One team might have better linebackers and secondary people. Somebody has a better quarterback or a better running back. But there is no team. I mean, and I don't want to hear about the 49ers and Kyle Shanahan. They got whooped by both the Browns and the Ravens.
The Bengals whooped them too.
Manhandled.
Yep.
And the Bengals, right? Manhandled, because they can't play our brand of football that's in our division. That physicality, they're all kind of, smooth moves and this and this. Yeah,
in
exactly.
The 49ers, they lost to the Bengals too, right? They lost like 3 AFC North teams this year.
Yeah,
when they got physical.
They pounded the Steelers, and they lost to all the other 3.
Oh yeah, all the other good teams in the North.
Yeah. Got a question. Let's say the Ravens lose to the Dolphins. Do we really want to play our starters hard next week to try to win the division?
Let me answer that question, Moo. Sorry, I know you were asking Moo, but may I take that answer?
Yeah, go ahead.
The last time the Browns won the division was 1989. So if I was Kevin Stefanski and those Browns players, I'd have a little sort of pride. Like, this fucking team hasn't won the division in 30 years. We're going to play our starters. And you know what? We're going to win this fucking division. Period. That's the Ravens lose. That's the attitude I would have.
If the Ravens win this
weekend,
they
win, it's over. If they win, we already clinched the division.
It's a moot point. That's right.
Yeah. But if we lose,
a moot point.
What do you do? I mean, you make a good, fair point, Bronk. But you gotta fight for the division. This team has not won a division in 30 years.
I know. I seem to be in the minority though on social media of saying we should rest our starters regardless of whatever the Ravens do.
These assholes on social media never played any kind of athletics, and They don't
Yeah,
know what
I-
it feels like to play hurt. They don't
Yeah,
know.
like Mike Florio talking shit about the Ravens. Like, have you ever put pads on Mike Florio? Can I just say one thing, Mr. Moo, real quick?
Yep.
Every player in the NFL is in the NFL for a reason. They're NFL players. They're great athletes. It takes this team, the Browns team, as a Ravens fan looking at y'all's team, it reminds me so much of the 2012 Ravens. We lost 3 of our last 4 games to end the season. We were like 9-7 or 10-6 to get into the Super Bowl, to get into the playoffs. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But if your team has faith and your team, like them Browns players, the Joku, Cooper, the defense, like we got a quarterback now. We're going to fight even harder. Like we actually got a player that could take us to the Super Bowl. I'm scared. If y'all win the Super Bowl, I'm never coming back.
Now,
No, we
and
want
of
you
course,
back.
Wiley has a predictable don't rest the starters, play to win. But
I
You guys
just
are
want to
playing
put-
great, man. You guys are playing awesome.
yeah, you're not going to win if Joe Flacco goes down with an injury.
Oh, God, if
almost
anybody
29
else
years of
goes
age.
down.
Christ, then you'd be on your 5th quarterback.
I mean, you have to be realistic. And if the Ravens are playing Saturday night, is that right?
No, Sunday. They're playing Sunday at 1.
Sunday,
Sunday,
1
they-
o'clock. Sunday,
Sunday,
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock
Dolphins.
game.
All right, good. I'm
I'll
going to
be
make sure I
hungover.
watch
What?
that. I'll be there watching
It's
that.
the international game, the Ravens and Dolphins, 1 o'clock.
And it's going to be a good
American
football
time.
game, but you know,
No, to be fair, I'm so glad they didn't flex it because I got season tickets. I'm so glad they didn't flex it to an 8 o'clock game because I got shit I got to do on New Year's Eve. I didn't even fucking
Correct.
be in the Ravens Stadium on goddamn midnight.
well, Tua has not seen a defense like the Ravens. Now, I'll tell you why
No.
I can't cheer for the Ravens. They've injured 6 quarterbacks this year, and it's quite intentional. And it's no
They
different
have,
than
they
the Steelers. It's no different than the Steelers. And you got a guy who's a linebacker, Roquan Smith, who came out and
He
said,
headhunts. He headhunts. He
well, he
headhunts.
said our
Absolutely.
job. We look
But
at
I
our
will,
job.
I will say that fucking play that Steelers did to Chubb was way dirtier than any fucking play we had. That was a dirty play.
What was?
The
The
Chubb
play that the
Smith
Steelers broke
Patrick.
Chubb's legs.
Oh,
The play where Chubb was at,
Yeah, absolutely.
that was dirty.
I mean, comparing the Steelers and the Ravens defense, that would be kind of like comparing, let me say, somebody like Charles Manson and
And Jeffrey Dahmer.
and Jeffrey
Yeah.
Dahmer.
Oh,
right.
like
It's
you're
like-
the
it's like-
nicest
What do
guy
you
in
think's
prison.
worse? Fuck that shit. I mean, Roquan
Yeah.
Smith already told the press. He said, "We go out
That's what I
to
do.
hurt quarterbacks.
Yeah.
That's what we do." And
That's
6
what
of
we
them they've
do.
injured. I can't cheer for that. The Browns don't do that.
Fair enough.
But the Browns have the best defense, and they don't do that. They
Yeah.
stop teams from getting into the end zone. That's what their job is. And
Imagine what's your guy's GM's name? Barry. What's his? Not
Andrew Barry.
Andrew Barry. I meant.
Yeah.
Imagine if this team with Flat, not with Flacco, because you couldn't foresee obviously Flacco being here, but imagine this team if they didn't trade 3 first-round draft picks for Watson. Imagine how good this team is with 3 first-round draft picks and $50 million to spend next year. Imagine how better this team could be. So I know that. Go ahead. Go ahead now. I'm sorry.
Well, that's a
And-
moot point too. But anyway,
Well, hey.
can I ask a question about Elijah Moore because that looked like the worst concussion
Oh, that
this
was
year.
awful. That looked
All right.
awful. That
I
looked
think
horrible.
Is he
it's
all right?
impressing Me. I'm not letting
He's
the
fine.
Ravens.
He's in concussion protocol.
Oh, stop it. You know what I'm gonna do? You know, and I don't like to be this way, but you know,
Uh-oh. You're not gonna
we're
you're not gonna
muting him.
mute him.
We're muting him for now.
Oh,
Stick
we're
around,
muting.
Joe. There will be a time when we come back to you. But I wanted to comment on something that somebody in the chat room is writing, and it's nice to see Renee back in the
Oh,
chat room too. Nice to see you.
I thought she walked away, but anyway.
No, not Renee. Just the left bank. They walked away
Yeah,
out of
they
their
walked away.
careers. Yeah. So I don't believe that Lawrence had a high ankle sprain.
Oh, I
Right?
don't either.
And Renee doesn't know that I feel this way, but I thought that was the biggest bunch of bullshit I ever saw in my life.
Oh,
I think
wow.
he definitely tweaked his ankle, but I think that he at first thought that it was far worse, and you know,
That it really
he went
was.
down to the ground. But then it's like no cart takes him back, and then
Yeah.
the next thing you know, he's skipping rope. Not with a high ankle sprain. Something else
No.
happened. But again, you believe the media the national media and their narrative, and you'd believe that, oh, look at his record. He's an Iron Man. He hasn't missed any games, and all the time he's played in the NFL, he hasn't been in the NFL that long. And now he's out Sunday. Thank you, Richard. And the fact of the matter is that even with him, and there was nothing wrong with him against the Browns, he was escaping the pass rush. He was actually running design scrambles.
Correct.
Bullshit.
Absolutely.
He had a high ankle sprain.
Yeah,
The fact
he
of
had
the matter
nothing.
is that he don't have a team around him that's good enough, and he has proven to be prone to turnovers, specifically fumbling the football. He doesn't take care of the ball. And, you can make excuses all you want, but the facts are the facts. We're waiting again for the next great white scrambling quarterback. And he's better than Tim Tebow, but then, somebody's sister is better than Tim Tebow.
God.
And I know that he played for Clemson, and I know that he was, he's got long hair and he's the Fabio of South Carolina. I get that. But
Wasn't
there's
Doug
nothing
Flutie a
that I've
scrambler?
seen that would tell me that he's much more than that. So,
Wasn't-
yeah, and I'd say that Jacksonville's going to have a problem without him, because just like the Browns have a problem without their starting quarterback. My overall point in all of this is to make a final point about
Okay.
the state of the Cleveland Browns. What we learned in
Longest point
yesterday's
ever.
game, huh?
It's the longest point ever.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding, Mo. I love. Go ahead.
All right. Go
I'm
back
still
over.
waiting for the word about Elijah Moore. I mean, is he
he's in
dead?
concussion protocol.
Yeah, he's in concussion protocol out of the hospital. I mean, the bottom line
In
though,
the
is
hospital.
he went to the hospital.
Yes.
You saw him involuntarily.
I didn't know he went to the
Yeah, his hands
hospital.
were
but
shaking. His fucking hands
Yeah,
were
I
like
know.
shaking and shit.
I saw that.
That was awful.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's scary. And he's in the concussion protocol and will be there for some amount of time. And the longer, the better, because
The
no,
longer the better.
no, he was having a revenge game against the Jets and was doing very well. But you just don't want to put somebody back out on the field if they are.
Yeah,
Oh, I
he
thought you
looked
meant
like he
as
broke
he
his
sucks.
neck.
Like the longer the better. Like because you don't want him on the field.
Oh
Sorry.
no, I'm all for him being on the field. I just think
Fair
that when somebody shows neurological damage when they're on the ground, it kind
Yeah.
of makes me very, very worried. I know what Bronk's saying. So
Anyway.
yeah, so my point is going to be this: the Cleveland Browns have a wide receiver problem because
Oh.
David Bell
We have none.
has not. You saw in the second
Didn't
half.
they just set a wide receiver record the other week? So I don't understand what you're saying. Didn't they just set a record for wide receiver yards in a game like a week ago?
Yeah, that was Amari Cooper.
Yeah, but you have a good
I'm
receiver.
tired of being hijacked this way. Stop it.
Stop it.
God almighty. Let me get the point out.
All right, get the point out.
All right. The point is that the Cleveland Browns have no backup wide receivers. David Bell is slow, can't get separation, and Cedric Tillman seems to have a problem running the correct pattern.
Correct.
And Flacco called him out on the field for it.
Yeah, he was fucking
Stop running.
angry.
He stopped running.
Yeah, Flacco was pissed.
Yeah.
He was not happy.
So what do you do if you're the Browns? Because you have no first round draft picks, because people will tell you, like Wiley Fox, that, who's literally put extra Ring cameras around his house when he found out that that Deshaun Watson wasn't going to prison for life. So you have him, you see, saying that there was the worst signing ever in the NFL's history. It's like first round picks fail all the time. The Browns have
Correct.
second and third round picks. But if I were the Cleveland Browns, because I have great coaches like Bill Callahan and great coaches like Jim Schwartz, he's making really good players out of people who weren't even part of the pie to begin with. They're
Correct.
contributing in a way, And we don't have that with our wide receivers. We need Amari Cooper. We need David Njoku. We need Elijah Moore. We need the frontline people because there's nothing behind them.
Yeah. And I would not play Flacco and I would not play Njoku next week. I don't care whether we got the division or a chance, but if any of them get killed, we would have absolutely
May I just
nothing
make a small
going to the
point real
playoff
quick?
game.
If I just may make a small little point.
Yes.
A couple years ago, when Lamar was playing with Willie Snead and Hollywood Brown, like nobody was real quick to say Lamar had shitty receivers. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're bitching about the Browns receivers, but look who Lamar's played with. Now this year he finally has receivers, and we're the number one seed in the in the AFC. So you gotta give credit where credit's due.
Okay, enough advertising. We're gonna kick him. Sorry, Joe. But,
Wow.
we have a show
Bye,
to do.
Joe.
The bottom line is that nobody's talking about Lamar Jackson here. I have no problem with him, but at the same time, he's not a great quarterback, and it's different when your frontline receivers are virtually all injured. And you have never done anything, and the front office has done a poor job of getting backup wide receivers who can really contribute. But here's my point, and I keep trying to get it out, and it's not getting out. So I'll be real quick about it. Take all of your lower draft picks and trade them for just a couple of second-round picks. You got one of your own, get 2 more second-round picks, get wide receivers. And the reason is you don't have any. And
we don't.
What we have, though, are a group of players, guys like Mike Ford, and who got hurt in the game yesterday. Got guys like Hickman. We got guys who nobody knew who in the fuck they were. Some of them are
got trained up.
people. And all of a sudden, man, he's running a pick 6 back. He's, Ohio State fans are going, yeah, Ronnie, you get it done. But the bottom line is they're being coached.
Yeah.
They're being coached up by Jim Schwartz, and they're all next man up guys. So what do I need to get a bunch of draft picks that replicate what people who are getting game experience this year with our depth? We don't need anything except wide receivers. We can find 2 wide receivers in the second round. We can do it. And eventually, because that Amari Cooper's plantar fasciitis is going to act up because it has the last several years. And Njoku's a fine tight end. You need to do better to have up more than just the starters. You need to be able to go depth-wise.
You don't think they'll look to free agency?
Something.
Yeah, well, that's how we got Elijah Moore. We had to do a crazy trade, and he ain't that. God bless his soul. He ain't the great.
59 receptions and 650, 660 yards.
Yeah, I mean,
by our standards,
that's good.
He's doing damn well as good as DPJ did.
Correct.
All right, so I want reliable people with good hands who run sharp patterns. I don't necessarily want the fastest blazing speed guy. I don't need that. What we need are people, whether it's Deshaun Watson throwing the ball or Joe Flacco throwing the ball, it makes no difference. You need to have
separation.
Your receivers on the same page.
Deshaun Watson needs to go watch film of Marvin Harrison Jr. and try to find a way to get the front office to get him on this team.
Yeah, well, that's going to be a damn impossible. But
we'd have to trade Myles Garrett to get him, I think.
Take a look at people like Nacua, these players were in
the
the
Rams
second round. It's like they're there if you know what you're looking for. The Browns front office just hasn't proven they know how to see it. Know it when they see it. They don't get that.
Well, funnily enough, the wide receiver coaching room's always been our weakest link too for ages as well.
Yeah, you freaking hired a Belichick guy in there to coach the receivers.
Yeah.
So I guess my gut feeling for the Cleveland Browns is, if you want to set up your future will be set up by what Joe Flacco and Bill Callahan are proving, which is maybe the archaic way of actually running correct play action. I don't know if you saw the one ball fake that he did where he just
Oh,
I saw
God.
the ball on his belly, basically, and extended the hand and pulled it back. I mean, really good technique, and you could see them freezing.
That looked like the hidden ball trick in baseball. That did. That was that good,
Yeah.
you know.
And that's what I saw is a lot of freezing on the part. And I think Sauce Gardner said it best. And it's probably why Sauce Gardner
Went missing.
say what?
He went missing in that game yesterday.
Well, and he talked to the press after the game, and you're not going to believe what he said.
Well, what did he say? I didn't hear it. It was like
He
6
said-
in the morning.
All week long, I prepared that I would be chasing Amari Cooper all over the field.
Wow.
And then he didn't play, and then I ended up having to be on Njoku. And the fact is, he wasn't prepared.
He got done. Yeah.
And that's the difference between a professional and a guy who's been on a slow decline since his rookie year. That's the
Right.
difference. He's a good ball player, but he's not improving from year 1 to year 2 to year 3. We're not seeing linear improvement, but that's no excuse.
Are you
That's
talking
no
about
excuse at
Njoku?
all.
Yeah, that's a terrible
No,
comment.
no, I'm
by
talking about Sauce
Gardner.
Gardner.
Oh,
Sauce Gardner was making excuses that the reason that you didn't hear his name called in the game is because he was preparing to face Amari Cooper, and that he was going to be in the slot and he was going to shut down Amari Cooper.
Wow.
And you know something? I don't give a shit what makes
Why
Sauce
would
Gardner
you say
look
that
better.
in public? Yeah, you shouldn't say that in public. That's crazy
Yeah,
for him to say that.
but it tells
that-
you I wanted to have the number one guy, so I look better. And
Yeah.
instead, he got eaten alive.
most
That's
corners.
bad
talk that
vibes
way.
all the way, man.
Yeah, it's ego driven, and doesn't work
Mhm.
for me.
Okay, so anybody else get hurt in this game that I don't know about? Because I don't know anything about after the game.
Elijah
Like
Mitchell
anybody
got
else
hurt,
got
and
killed?
Mike Ford popped a calf muscle. Those are the two, and we'll see.
Because I really think we should treat this Bengals game like a preseason game. You
I still
know,
want to
and
win it though, just to fucking shut them up because their fans are just being completely obnoxious.
Yeah, but that's not
Nah.
going to get players injured. And Richard is absolutely right. 17 days to get healed and rested. We want our players to be in the best condition they can be in. And to tell you the truth, the Bengals are going out. And when are the Bengals playing? What day?
They played 425 on
Yeah,
Sunday.
yeah, they played the Chiefs in the afternoon game. That's
Now,
the national
is
game.
it a home game for them?
No, it's in Kansas City.
So the Chiefs really need to win. They don't want to be going to 9-7. So
Yep.
and they're due. And Cincinnati can't beat the Chiefs. And
No.
they couldn't with Joe Burrow. I hate to think what's going to happen. With their current quarterback.
The Chiefs
But-
couldn't even beat a rookie with the Raiders though. So who the hell knows?
Yeah, well, that was a fun game. I enjoyed watching the Raiders beat the Chiefs. Man, that was fun.
Well, again, it's just the unpredictability. I mean, let's be honest. Who would have said that the Browns would have scored 27 points in the first half of a football game? That was
Well-
just absolutely insane. And again, for the
Yeah.
first, you notice the first drive of virtually every game, our defense gives up a touchdown. And after that, man, they clamp
They
down
figure it out. Yeah, they figure it out.
because that's in-game coaching. And that,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, I see what they're doing, and what the
Yeah,
Jets
because they
were
game
doing.
planned all week against our defense, so they figured out a way to get a touchdown. But then all we have to do is slightly turn the knob a different direction, and then we shut them down like 4 straight times on 3 and outs.
And Brees Hall was getting his yards by
He was.
starting out running and seeing, they're waiting for me here. And he's so fast. There was nobody
could move.
covering the back door. Nobody on the Browns defense was covering the backside. And he was just cutting back. And that's where he was getting his yardage. They were all on broken cutbacks, and there should have been
Yep.
somebody there to string him out. And instead, there wasn't. And that's something the Browns are going to have to look at in their game film.
Well, yeah,
But-
that's a Taki Koromoa thing. But I think the Browns actually play better on defense without Thornhill and without Walker. I don't know whether that's controversial or not, but when we have Hickman and Taki and the other guys in there, Haile Selassie, we see him play better.
Walker's
I think
had, like,
Thornhill's probably
so many.
still hurt, and
No, he played
Walker's,
yesterday.
yeah, I know he doesn't look like he's himself though.
Well,
Yeah.
to be
Anyway.
honest with you, Hill hasn't impressed me at all since we brought him in.
Yeah.
And Walker, he's had like so many leg injuries. I think he's starting to slow down.
Yeah. So yeah, I think. Go ahead.
I put Wiley Fox up here because he's been around here a long time.
A long time, yes.
Yeah, and longtime viewers, family. I love all of our viewers. The fact of the matter is, I think anyone would love Deshaun Watson if he got us into the playoffs and got us into the Super Bowl. Everybody would love Deshaun Watson. People are fickle.
He had a hand in it this year.
Yeah, he was 5-1. People forget that. And it is, the ridiculousness of people who oversee things like this that say, well, he's never going to be this. He's never, the fact of the matter is we're $230 million into the guy guaranteed, and he's got to play.
He's on the team. Yeah.
And the quote that came from Joe Flacco, it didn't come directly from Flacco. It came from one of his teammates with the Jets. It was very interesting. And I want to find this. What he said, according to Garrett Wilson. So we can believe the source because he played for Ohio State. According to fans, anything that he says, he can shit gold. All right?
Correct.
Flacco told me last year that he wasn't going to go play somewhere and be a backup. And he stood on all 10 about that.
Wow.
So anybody who's saying, is he going to sit and be a backup in Cleveland?
No.
Why should he?
No.
He's at the end of his career. If he wants to play and have a chance somewhere, and if somebody offers him a legitimate opportunity to play and to do something, and he has the offensive line that he needs, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. And Deshaun Watson's your quarterback, whether you like it or whether you don't like it. All right. And
I think Flacco would do well in Cincinnati next time Burrow finds out that he can't play anymore, or Jacksonville.
And the thing that's funny, and I'll bring this up regarding Wiley Fox, is
we love Wiley.
Well, one man's sin, as you would say, Wiley Fox, and you can forget a multitude of Donald Trump sins, and you're going to go out and you're going to vote for him as many times as you can get away with so that he becomes the president of the United States again. And this is a guy who has had an absolute tarnished history with women, who abused and spoke badly of women in public, who talked openly about getting pussy. This is a guy who can't be your born-again Christian president, but you believe it. So the reason is because you want your side to win. The reason you love Donald Trump is because he won once. And you want to keep winning. And you don't want these other political views that are opposite of yours to be in power or in control. And I understand that. But the fact of the matter is that people will love Deshaun Watson if he gets us into the playoffs and wins a Super Bowl. He will become the hero and the toast of Cleveland. And you'll be the only one out there saying, well, but what, don't you remember what he did?
Can I make a quick comment about that, which I don't usually do, make a comment? How many more indictments does Donald Trump have compared to Deshaun Watson? I'd say 91.
Ask the question again.
How many more indictments does Donald Trump have compared to Deshaun Watson?
Yeah.
I would say 91 more indictments.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Yeah. Again, and Jim, you get it. I mean, anybody who thinks that Watson is going somewhere the only place Watson can go is if he gets hurt and he can't play, and then they have to negotiate away
Out of it, yeah.
out of the contract that that Haslam got us into here.
Yeah, and with the insurance company that they probably got involved as well too. So, the worst thing about the broadcast last night was Al Michaels obviously got fed up with the banging on the metal bits, but he also got old and crotchety towards the end of the game. I mean, what was he doing trying to impress Howard Cosell? Because your Howard Cosell is far better than Al Michaels is.
Well, he even made reference to, do you believe in miracles? Yes. I mean,
Yes.
right now, Al Michaels has very little to add to.
Well, he looks like he's 90 years old too,
Well, I mean,
Looks like he's senile.
no,
Yeah,
I wouldn't go that far, but I would say that he's past his prime as far as being
Correct.
a sports commentator. And, and believe me, and I know why he's on the broadcast, and Amazon Prime had to find somebody who had some credibility that the viewers
Some old
recognized.
hand.
Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
and it's fine. You could make the argument that they hired him for the same reason the Browns hired Bill Callahan. The difference is that Callahan's good at his job. And I don't think, besides, do you believe in miracles? Yes. I don't believe that there was much else to him.
No.
And as far as Howard Cosell was concerned,
He was basically bad-mouthing Howard, saying like, "Oh, I could tell you stories of when I worked together with him during baseball and all that." And I thought, well, fuck you then.
well,
we
everybody
love Howard.
has Cosell stories. And again, he was opinionated for his time, and he loved to promote himself. Cosell was not a popular person, and sometimes, he would say all kinds of great things like, "Look at that little monkey run." Okay.
He did.
And,
He said that.
and and it's like the African American community is like, "You got some splaining to do." I mean, it's like, and he
Well, it
goes,
was different
"No,
back in those days.
He goes, my grandson, I call him a little monkey, and he is as white as the driven snow."
Yeah, that really worked too.
I mean, it was like, you just don't say that on national television.
But
Yeah.
it was a different time back then, though.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Not that different.
no, but again, Al Michaels is not offensive in any way to me. He just seems kind of lost in the booth. Sometimes it's like, what down is it? Kind of like, it kind of reminded me of
Dwayne Stat, sort of.
no, who was like in the end, Pat Summerall. In the end.
Yeah, Summerall was like hammered.
I don't
the whole
know what the score is. It's
I
like
had 5 bottles of whiskey, and I don't know what game I'm at. Yeah.
I'm seeing if any other comments. Yeah, arrest the announcers, or arrest the announcers. Yeah.
And Herb Street just talks nonstop about nonsense. I mean, at least he didn't say tempo 5,000 times like he normally does.
Mark Ross, you're my man. I'm so far behind on comments. And I'm not going to let Joe talk anymore because he'll just blather on. But yet, AFC Championship, if the Browns get to the AFC Championship, God bless them.
Correct.
Goodbye. Thank you for coming, Joe. I love you, but you can't help yourself.
I love you, Cleveland.
So, at any rate, yeah, but do I think the Browns would beat the Ravens? No, I think in Baltimore.
No, not in Baltimore. No,
we could beat the Chiefs. I firmly believe we could beat the Chiefs.
Right now, the state that they're in, yeah. And that would be Missouri.
Yes.
So, and all of these things are true. The more depth we build, the less we have to build in an immediate draft, and we can fill our needs. And that's what I'm saying. I think that's important.
Yeah, the defense is set. I mean, why draft on defense at the moment? I mean, we got a full roster of defenders when they're all fit.
Yeah,
There's maybe
and
some free agency work he can do on defense.
yeah, but I'll say this: that the odds of ending up being hurt like this uh, over and over and over and over again. This has been an unusual year. The reason Cedric Tillman is still being unnoticed is because he's not noticing what the playbook's telling him.
Yeah,
what to do.
no one's found him yet. That's why he's unnoticed. Yeah.
And Wiley Fox asked a fair question: why wasn't Jarvis Landry picked up by anyone? And again,
He's done.
yeah, I mean, obviously his body is broken, but
Yep.
again, I think he could do more than David Bell right now.
He's probably still got broken ribs from the past 3 years, you know?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So let me see what else. Who do you want to give up for Marvin Harrison? No, I mean, you're not going to get your hands on him. Christopher Milton Sr., it's nice to see you in the chat room. It's and I think all of us are, and the comment, we're getting something from Richard that Flacco practiced against Ray Lewis and Ed Reed. He's not afraid of Sauce Gardner. And
Correct.
but yeah, I think that we discount the experience of players and the cool-headedness of the player. The Browns did pick up a third quarterback who I think might be their second quarterback, Jeff Driscoll, who played at Florida for a few years and finished up at Louisiana Tech, 30-year-old quarterback. I looked up a lot of his draft information from back in 2016. Interesting that he would be 6'4". He's another tall kind of pocket passer guy. He had 4.56 speed when he was young in college. He's 30 years old now, but is much more in keeping with Flacco's style.
Yeah, the prototype Flacco guy.
Right.
I mean, one thing Mr. Moose said when Flacco first came here was that you thought he'd be a statue and an easy target. Well,
That's
he's
right.
turned out to be anything but. He's
I
not
was
just
that
that.
against the Bengals.
But the offense was planned for this type of offense. I mean,
Correct.
what it tells me is that Stefanski's offense in this scheme, that there's enough time for that quarterback to throw because the offensive line is getting great coaching by Bill Callahan. And because and again, look what it did for play action. I mean, Ford ended up getting, Jerome Ford ended up getting 127 yards, or a running game did. And he averaged 5.3 yards a carry and had that huge 53-yard touchdown reception. So it opens up different avenues. And I think that's so at any rate, I got to get out of here because I'm going out to dinner tonight to celebrate the Cleveland Browns victory.
So how do you feel after last night? Do you feel like a weight has been lifted now that we've sort of proved that we're not the same old Browns?
Yeah,
I
think that all of that is the narrative, and it will be brought back when the Browns lose because
fail again. Yeah,
the Browns are not a complete football team, but we're engaged. Let's put it this way: the players are buying in to the head coach, to the position coaches, and they're playing the game the right way, and they are giving their best effort. And the next man up, guys like Hickman and guys like D'Anthony Bell, these guys are coming up large, making plays when these people were undrafted people. So,
and the main thing is, no matter what this team does, nobody's going to talk about them again next year. It's going to be Ravens this, Bengals that.
Well, I mean, and again, I don't understand where the Bengals suddenly got this respect, except that they have a white quarterback. I don't understand it. I mean, and Joe Burrow, he's proven nothing. He's proven nothing in his career, that he gets hurt every year. And
it's because of the Super Bowl appearance and the back-to-back AFC championships.
Yeah. Well, I mean, good for them. I don't see that their head coach is worth a shit. And I don't see that, Jamar Chase is coming back. Now, it's not 100% certain he's going to play, but without him, you saw what happened to the backup quarterback. And honestly, the backup quarterback was putting up better numbers early on than Flacco was when
Yes.
he was healthy. So don't tell me about Joe Burrow yet, because again, Flacco's proven himself. Joe Flacco is proven himself, but Joe Burrow, no, he's not proven himself, and neither is Lamar Jackson, not yet. When he does, we'll all acknowledge it, but I'm not going on the hype train. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Is there going to be a Peter Alice play of the game from last night?
Oh, I got to get out of here. It's 6:05. I'm,
You got to get out.
I'm taking my sweetie rocks out to dinner. I mean, yeah.
Ooh, he's having a New Year dinner.
John Grasshoff, how you doing, my friend? Just up the road in the Meadows. It's good to see you in the chat room too. It's Lee Corso. Make that stop.
Oh God, yeah, please. He's horrible.
But the thing, Wiley, is that Cosell would have hated you. I don't know exactly what your point is. You say you love Israel and that you hate the Arabs, yet you voted for a president who literally helped the Arabs. It makes no sense. Right there. Right there, Wiley. It's there. The Saudis are funding Donald Trump. You love Israel. Shut the fuck up. You love it when your side says to love it. Yeah. All right. The John Facenda School of Broadcasting. There's a name you haven't heard for a long time.
Oh, wow. NFL Films. That music was great, though. The music.
All right. So, everybody, let's just say how happy we are.
Victory Friday.
It's great. It's just great. And I want to make sure that I've covered everything that I wanted to cover because there's never enough time. Well, you're not going to hear the same old Browns yet from the national broadcasters just because it's not time yet, but you'll hear it when we eventually meet our demise.
So when's the next Moohead show? Because obviously Monday is New Year's Day. So I don't know what
nothing's happening on New Year's Day.
Oh, shut up, Bono.
I'm assuming Friday, the Friday before the Bengals game, I'm assuming.
Yeah, but I'm sure I'll record something before then. But, New Year's is New Year's, man. And again, this is the holiday, the festive holiday season.
We're supposed to be festive here.
Yeah, yes. and look at the Browns, man. We're still in festive. This. We've passed the test. We won the home game. We had to win. We got it done, and we did it with alacrity. And
alacrity, yes, SAT word from Al Michaels.
And I'm not so sure that our backups can't beat the Bengals. If the Bengals lose, what are they playing for? Nothing.
Correct. Nothing. Who are the Bengals? Nothing.
The Steelers still think they have an outside shot to get in. Good luck with that.
Well, I think every team in the AFC South has a chance to get in. So
it's not going to be Jacksonville, but the real question we're going to wonder is who the hell do we want out of that division?
No, we don't want it. We could beat them all. We beat all.
Even if Houston has
next man up, it's next game up. Whoever it is, you got to play them and you got to win.
Yeah, we can beat them.
So, all right, everybody, take care, and I'll let you know on social media when the next time the show will be on, and I'll be watching football this weekend to see what happened. It's just so I can hone my arguments a little better. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks, Bronk. Thanks, David.
No.
And
go back to bed
even
now.
Thanks, Joe, for
and
being
thank
in
Wiley
the
Fox too for being
and thank
Wiley
Fox. Good fucking night to you too. I do
Wiley
appreciate
Fox.
all the people
Thank
who
you,
take
Disillusionment.
Huh?
Thank you, Disillusionment, as says by Alanis Morissette.
Oh, okay. And Mark Ross. Moo can do Cosell right there. Suck my
Right.
dick. Oh God, it feels so good. Lola Falana going down on me in my imagination.
Wow. Battle of the Network Stars.
I'm not going to do Cosell. That would be disgusting. Oh God, I'm ready to come. It's really hateful.
Well,
All
it
right,
does have a
everybody.
film.
Before I get kicked off of YouTube, thanks everybody, and we'll be back again whenever we're back again. Until then, hasta la vista, pasture. Good night and go Browns.
Move.